Welcome, Habibis. It's Waco from Revolution here at Dubai Watch Week. I am so excited, but the first thing that I want to do is introduce the gentlemen on each side of me. On my right, I have Mr. Abdullah Al-Shaya. Al-Shaya means a great poet. Sir, explain to the world who you are.
Normal watch enthusiast from Dubai, my city. I'm so happy to be here, so happy to be part of the Revolution team. Looking forward for this event, looking forward for what's about to be presented right now. And take it to Omar now.
There's Mr. Omar Trabusi, who actually probably needs no introduction for those of you guys who follow his incredible social media, The Wrong Wrist. But Omar, take it away. Tell us about yourself, sir.
First of all, thank you very much, Wei, for this opportunity. Abdullah, it's such a joy to be able to join you and work together with you. So you know me as The Wrong Wrist on Instagram. I'm Omar from Lebanon. And basically, watches is not my career, but I chose to make it my career because there's so much love and passion here. And who better to do it with than Mr. Waco? I look forward to educating you, entertain you, and everything in between.
I think we're united by is, of course, our passion.
Absolutely.
Abdullah is, how can I put it? He is actually, to me, a great poet. He composed books on cinema.
Yep.
He's a heavy metal aficionado, much
Oh,
like
yes.
myself as well. But first and foremost, he is a lover of every dimension of watches. And he posts every week, just on his own social media, the newest releases of all the most accessible watches. I think it's so cool.
I realize many people want to see this because whenever they go on Instagram, they're only bombarded by all these expensive or hype ones. When I give something from the outside or from the outside this bubble, oh, this is something that the design, something I like. It reminds me of something, you know, something I've always wanted to have. And the price entry points are really accessible. But above all, they appreciate the artistry of it. And most of these projects are by people who are passionate about watches, whether they are from the States or from Europe or from Far East. And this is when I realized, no, there's much more we have to do. And I call them AI, the affordable indies.
Oh, I love that. You know, and I love that because there is, has to be a democratic element to watches.
Absolutely.
And what you show people is that there are, at an accessible price point, such interesting designs, such watches with great authenticity as well, stuff that really makes you dream, and it's a perfect entry into the world of horology. But you said AI, accessible independence, and I have to think of Mr. Omar Trabusi as kind of Mr. Independent, sir.
Absolutely.
Like for you, why are you so enamored with the world of independent watchmaking? In particular, one person, Mr. Max Buser, right?
Yes. Listen, Wei, to be honest with you, for me, it's all about the connection. So when I'm buying a watch, or if I'm gonna read about a watch, educate myself about the watch, I need to know the people behind the brand. It's very important for me to be able to understand the person who created this product. For me, it goes way beyond the name of the brand on the watch. And the independents are pioneers when it comes to relationship. They're so accessible. You just knock on their door, you make the first contact, and you are in an immense world where there's appreciation, respect. And for me, honestly, this is priceless. This is priceless. We're gonna talk later on about the beautiful watch that we have here. It's all about the stories, and the stories make the difference. Without the stories, you don't have the value of the piece on your wrist.
I totally agree, and I think the thing that we all love is authenticity.
100%.
And when it comes to authenticity, there is no greater family in the world than the Siddiqui family.
Yes.
What they have created with Dubai Watch Week is singular, and it is, to me, the greatest cultural event and educational event in watchmaking around the world.
Yes.
Right? What they have created also as a platform for the public, without any sort of like commercial, strategy, but just an educational for the platform for the public to come, to meet the watchmakers, to meet the people behind the brands, to put the watches on their wrists, to become enchanted with this world of horology. It's unique. I mean, tell us, you're from Dubai. Tell us why the Siddiqui family has done this.
I've been following the progress of Dubai Watch Week from the first event until we reach now this round. I would say it has really matured up. First of all, they realized in the first session they made it in the middle of the summer because they thought it's going to be, people are going to come because of the holidays. Then they realized immediately we have to shift it until November, which was very convenient. Now, I know lots of my friends who are flying only for this event, especially from GCC countries, Qatar, Saudi, Oman, Bahrain, and Kuwait. All of them will be here. It is like a social gathering because everybody's taking selfies with they don't treat them like a watchmaker, they are like artists, they're celebrities. They would love to have something, they would love to share, what do they want from watches. And also I look at the age, I'm very happy to see young people, ages between 18 to 22, and they're asking some technical questions and they're asking something. So this is where we, as hopefully me and Omar, as a Middle East correspondent of Revolution, to come up with what do we need, and we'll tell you, wait, we need this article, we need this thing, we need this thing. We have to do something for the community. So hopefully we're going to integrate or continue where these people, where Dubai Watch Week, after it, once it stops, we'll be here to give them something, an alternative or something to continue their hunger for knowledge.
Yeah, I would totally agree. We're deeply inspired by Dubai Watch Week as an educational and cultural platform as well. And really one of our objectives as Revolution in the Middle East is to continue this, to continue the cultural appreciation, continue the educational process, to continue spreading the passion, year round, right? And every year.
Honestly, for me, Dubai Watch Week brings the camaraderie about the watches. It brings the fun into this hobby. And it's like Abdullah said, it became such a power name and such a big point on the map where everybody across the universe, they're gonna come from all corners of the world to Dubai just to assist and enjoy what we all love the most, which are these mechanical marvels. And I have to give credit to the Siddiqui, by the way. They do it in such a nice and elegant way. And I mean, for us, that's what we love, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I just associate their family and this fair with elegance and taste and class. Exactly. So, on the subject of the watches, we have created 4 limited edition watches as a celebration of our entry to the Middle East market, as you can see with our 2 amazing correspondents. So the first watch is actually from Christiaan van der Klaauw, and it's a really interesting watch for me because it possesses the world's smallest planetarium, which shows 6 planets plus the sun, and it actually rotates in exactly the speed of the planets around the sun, which means that Saturn will actually take you 29 years for make one full rotation around the sun.
To be honest, for me also, there's one key element is the theme of the watch is obviously the planets, and the aventurine dial gives this such a wonderful, whimsical look and aspect to it. And let's not forget that the planets are loomed.
Which means that when you put it into the direct sunlight and go into the darkness, your planetarium will just come to life, which I think is such a cool detail to it as well. Abdullah, you were telling me that actually there's quite a considerable value for this watch as well. I mean, considering the price, which I believe is it 44,000 Swiss francs?
This one's going to be around 44,000. Yes, correct.
Now, again, I will start. Whenever I used to post on Christiaan van der Klaauw, I would say he's in world of his own because he's very unique. To be able to limit, if you look at his previous novelties, here he focused on what people want. They want a mini planetarium, not the entire one, but he gave it like space look dial. Still, you have your day and date, and still in what I don't know. This is this titanium?
It's so easy to wear as well. Which I really like also because sometimes there's a perception of Christiaan van der Klaauw being very, very traditional. But transforming it into a grade 5 fully brushed titanium watch gives it a super modern, stealthy edge to it as well. And it's so easy to wear. And second of all, like, you're talking about the aventurine. There's certain dials that they look beautiful with aventurine. This one makes the most sense because it gives you this perception of space.
Look at this curve, like a small spaceship or something. I don't know. So it gives me this kind of feel. But again, this is a very special, unique. I would love to have one in my collection if I'm a collector. No, this is definite, a unique one. Absolutely. Not anywhere.
Again, that's the story, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely love that. So let's go from that to actually a watch with another aventurine dial. But this is a watch created by a legendary independent watchmaker, Ludovic Ballouard, and it was created in collaboration with his son when his son was just a few years old. Omar, tell us a bit about that watch.
So this is the epitome of what we call love and passion. Ludovic Ballouard is one of the only watchmakers that is so passionate about his job. He creates watches with love. And this one, you covered the story really nicely. It was in commemoration of his late wife that passed away. And this one means much more to him because as he created this watch, saying farewell to a soul that was so meaningful to him, he welcomed another soul, his son Gabriel. And this was very important when we decided to do the collaboration, to involve his son in it.
Absolutely.
It makes the perfect sense. And the scribbles of his son just work perfectly. If you look at it, you think it's Kaws who did it, or it's Jeff Koons, or one of the big names artists.
Yeah,
but it's his son, which is amazing, who's I think is 6 years old. And the upside down for me is a mechanical marvel as well.
Yes.
So once you have those Maltese crosses and that give you the indication of one time, which you only need to know the time, and nobody has thought of it. But what a genius way of interpreting time.
Yeah, it's spectacular. It just kind of reminds you also to appreciate the moment that you're in as
Yes.
well. To have only one index that's that's right side up, with the rest of them being upside down.
For me, if I look at it, you have a mix of the preciousness of platinum with a child drawings. So this gives me some sort of, yes, there's something precious here. There's
Yes.
something, marvelous.
Omar, talk to us about the Roma Synergy, which is a collaboration between Schwarz, Etienne, and Kari Voutilainen.
So this watch for me honestly means a lot because it's the best scenario of being able to get a big name on a watch that is somehow accessible.
Right.
I'm a big fan of Kari Voutilainen. I've been admiring his work since now at least a decade. And I was never been able to get or put my hands on one of his creations,
Right.
just because the price point was honestly a little bit over my budget. But with this one, you get the DNA of Kari Voutilainen. So you have his guilloche dials that are done amazingly, and this one is done with white gold.
Yeah, solid
which
gold.
is quite different than
Right.
the others. And if you turn it around and you look at the decoration, it also has Kari Voutilainen's DNA.
Absolutely.
So this watch for me is honestly high-end watchmaking at an accessible point, and it's a win-win situation. So I just love it. It's size-wise, it's also very nice. It's very comfortable on the wrist. Stainless steel, which is the crowd's favorite. I think you can't go wrong with this watch.
Absolutely.
I think Omar covered the Voutilainen part, and let me talk now about the Schwarz Etienne part.
Please.
Generally, I love their movements. They know how to. They have a wide variety, and they supply many other manufacturers. But when it comes to this Roma, for me, it's very simple and it look. Simple structure, yet very highly effective power reserve, makes it very wearable. And somehow, though it is 42, but always to me it feels like 40. I don't know why.
Now let's go from that to something that's a little bit more creative, visually stunning, I would say. And it is this incredible collaboration between Angelus and Alain Silberstein.
I've been preaching about Bauhaus because I believe I'm one of those who used to see Silverstein's creations in the 90s, and they were some really wild, but he kept it with the Bauhaus looks.
Absolutely.
So if I look at this part here without the tourbillon, this looks like a perfect.
You know what?
taste-
It's funny. Is
tasteful-
when if you just look at that, you just think it's a really cool cushion-shaped
Absolutely.
Silverstein watch
That's
by
it.
itself.
That's
you know?
it. This is the beauty.
Exactly.
And then you hide
Yeah.
here, you have a wonderfully constructed tourbillon
Yes.
by itself. Still, again, the single tone look with all the titanium look, so it doesn't look goldish or something,
Yeah.
and give it a bit of a sporty creation. But again, I don't think I've ever seen Bauhaus with Arabic numerals before.
Yes, I'd say it's a very interesting
So
contrast.
this is for me something unique, something I haven't seen before. And even the case back here, if you look at
the
it with
movement's
all
so
the
cool.
barrels, yeah, I think so 90 hours power
Yes,
reserve. Yeah. So
exactly.
this is really high for such a
Huge tourbillon floating in space.
Yeah.
I mean, the cool thing about this watch to me was it's actually using a movement which was developed almost a decade ago, right? And it was created initially for a watch that Angelus presented called the Lumia Tobio. But in the end, they never made that watch because of whatever reason. First, it was incredibly expensive. Second of all, the watch case that they had made was massive, right? But the whole idea of this watch was basically the idea of like a man holding his heart outside of his body.
Okay.
And so you can see this massive tourbillon, like kind of like rotating in space.
Okay.
And you're like, how is it attached to the watch? You know,
Exactly.
through this porthole, which is kind of the optical illusion of this watch. So then, one day, Alain Silberstein was discussing it with Bertrand Sabry from Angelus, and was like, so whatever happened to that project? He's like, yeah, we have those movements. So he's like, I am going to redesign a wearable version of this watch, deeply influenced by Raymond Loewy, who was the father of Streamline architecture, right? And so you have a very streamlined shape of the case here as well. But what I love about it is exactly what you're talking about. If you're wearing it on your left wrist and your shirt is covering it here, it just looks like a really cool cushion-shaped Alain Silberstein watch. Then if you pull your cuff back slightly, you're like, whoa,
Whoa,
that's
big
the
whoa.
technical pyrotechnics. And honestly, at just, 68 or
68.
1,000 Swiss francs?
Swiss francs.
I mean, I find that to
For
be,
a tourbillon, this
yes,
is, yeah.
for a crazy tourbillon with so much like innovation in terms of construction, it's really cool. Omar, I kind of feel like this is your kind of watch. You tell
Absolutely.
us.
Honestly, the grade 5 titanium makes it so wearable.
Almost.
And for me, I'm a huge fan of the 70s era of cases and design of cases in that era. And this watch reminds me of that era. When you look at it, it screams those like quirky designs from that era. And it's just amazing. And like we all mentioned this, it has the identity of the two brands coming together. because the tourbillon is not masking the diet that was created by Alain Silberstein, and Alain Silberstein is not also overshadowing the tourbillon that is also a genius 1 minute flying tourbillon. So for me, this is a perfect collaboration where you can see the identity of both persons.
Yes.
Not to forget that Alain Silberstein started his career doing watches. Unfortunately, he wasn't very successful. He had to drop it. But then he came back a few years ago, especially with
Thanks
Max
to
Reusser,
Max, yeah,
doing
exactly.
the collabs with MBNF.
Exactly.
And he came back to the scene.
Absolutely.
And this has revived him.
I think
and
that's
this
one
is
of the-
another story also that is nice.
One of the coolest ones that he did, and it's also a center seconds tourbillon as well.
Okay.
So you have, all 3 Silverstein hands
Yeah.
there present, which I think is also very rare for a tourbillon.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and Habibis, thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to thank the Siddiqui family for hosting us
Yes,
here, and
definitely.
also that gentleman right there for allowing us to shoot here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us,
But-
Abdullah. It's a pleasure, sir.
But we are here for the event.
And we have to go to the event now. So, guys,
Absolutely.
stick with us. Omar, thanks, brother.
always a
Cheers.
pleasure.
Bye,
Pleasure.
guys.
Thank you.